Everyone. Welcome to an episode of Sitting Courtside. Today is Friday. It's March. Is it March 14th?
Tomorrow's
Why did
March
I think it was
14th.
Friday the 13th? My days are so off. It is the 13th. Well, and if you guys haven't noticed, we got the coolest kid in the house, the long awaited J Hooks on the pod. Pop it up. All right, I'm the only one that's clapping. It's fine. Big episode. I'll take it away. I'm too excited to talk. My brain's fried.
Yes, definitely. Welcome to the pod, Jeff. It's great to have you. Today it's a little bit different. We're just going to, it's kind of a special episode. It's right before March Madness during the conference tournament. We're going to do futures, though. Give you some values before the brackets come out, maybe some winners for the conference tournament for the weekend if you have those as well. But first, guys, we have to talk about the biggest news. If you're listening to this, I hope you know it. I mean, your phone's probably already buzzed like 100 times about this. Cooper Flag goes down from a rebound, rolled his ankle, out for probably the rest of the ACC tournament. Not sure after that. Duke is terrible about releasing injury information, so we have no idea how long he'll be out. They also lost Malik Brown to another dislocated shoulder. That's the second one this year, third injury, so he's probably out just the rest of the year. I'm playing a lot of Twitter doctor here, so take that with a huge grain of salt. But guys, what do you think? How far can Duke go if the worst case scenario, Cooper Flag cannot play in the NCAA tournament?
I mean, for me, I am not as into college basketball as you guys, but everything that I've been seeing about Duke is that they are heavily reliant on Cooper Flag, and with a team like Auburn, that's a co-favorite right now. I'd have to think that Auburn has at least jumped Duke as far as being the favorite to win a tournament.
Yeah. Kyle, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but we've seen some of the 8-9 teams this year. Be a real shame if, like, I don't know, Creighton had to play Duke second round. I don't know if Duke's getting past the second round without the old Coop dog.
You don't think second round it can
I
get
did,
second weekend?
This is primo upset city this year. For their best player to be out, like, eek.
Now,
Eek.
I will say, if we get better odds on Duke, I saw like briefly the odds on Duke jump to like plus 700. I think they came back down. Now, if it's a situation where Flag's going to come back in a couple of weeks and Duke just has to survive the first weekend, I think you could get some value if you get Duke at an
Oh,
inflated number.
I think you put that out, and I instantly was like, I'll put some crumbs on it. What's it gonna hurt?
I will say, the minute he went out, Knipple really stepped up. He scored over 25 points. He had, I think, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. He really took over. That's a guy that if he was on any other team would easily be like a top 10 player in
Oh
all
yeah.
of the nation. So I am glass half full would be. I think they can make it to the second weekend. I think they could even make it to the Elite Eight. They still have an 8-man rotation without Flag and without Malik Brown. It does bring in Mason Gillis. We don't really want to see him if you're a Duke fan. You
I
don't
just
want
say
to
you're
see
gonna count
him.
Mason
But,
Gillis as
yeah.
part of that rotation. That's the first thing I
Yeah.
thought. We have an
Yeah.
eight-man
And then,
rotation counting Mason Gillis.
yeah, Mason Gillis and Caleb Foster, two guys that you would not see normally. They're now back in the rotation if Flag is out. But yeah, I think they still have a ton of talent. Um, Gungba off the bench becomes the backup center now. He was a top 5-star recruit, so he's actually playing well. But yeah, I mean, they're no longer a national title contender if Cooper's out, but we will have to wait and see. And again, Duke will wait forever to tell us when he'll be back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with our futures bets here. Take it away, guest Jeff. Go ahead. What's your first bet?
So my first bet was going to be Auburn to make the Final Four at minus 140 and to win the national title at plus 390. Now, with the Cooper Flag injury, that number has probably come down. But I just love this team. They remind me of some of the teams of old. They have 10 seniors in their, say, an 11-man rotation. We're just talking about Duke's 8-man rotation. Auburn has an 11-man rotation. 10 of those guys are seniors, so they just have adults in the room. They had the lone freshman in Pettiford, and it really reminds me of the dynamic that we saw teams like UNC in 2005 when they had that Felton, McCants, Sean May, with Marvin Williams as the lone freshman. Or you could go to 2002 Maryland when it was the Blake, Dixon, Baxter team. They had Wilcox as the lone young guy on that team. So I like that dynamic. A bunch of adults in the room. I mean, we've all been 18. We've all been 23. The emotional maturity that you go through in between those years is huge. You also have a great coach in Bruce Pearl. He's been a head coach for 30 years. So just a lot of maturity with that team. I really like Auburn at plus 390, especially now with the Cooper Flag injury. The favorite that was in front of them is now coming down.
One more stat on like their age. They're half a year younger than Oklahoma City Thunder. That's how old they are. Isn't that wild? Their average age
That's
is half a year
insane.
younger. So
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and to add to that too, their losses have come to Bama, Duke, Florida, and A&M. So those are all teams that are going to be highly rated. They're going to be one, two, three, four, five seeds. So I really don't see the danger of them falling to an 8 seed. You're at least going to get out of that first weekend. Your bet's not going to be dead right away with this Auburn team.
got anything on that, Jordan?
I have no complaints. I love the Pearl Boat.
Yeah.
The Pearl Boats, it's a heavy boat right now.
Yeah. All right, you want to go next, or you want me to?
I'll throw in just a reminder for everyone. Start the season, I did have Alabama to make the Final Four at plus 240. That's now down to plus 225, so not really a lot of value. And I'll be honest with you, kind of hate it. Don't like the pick at all now. But I'm going on a limb here. It's not an official bet you can make. It will come out once the tournament hits. Right now, you can get Marquette at plus 2,000 to make the Final Four. I'm just going to have that. And so you can get potentially plus 1,000 to make the Sweet 16. They're going to be floating in that 8-9 matchup. I do like them to upset a 1 seed if they have to, or a 2 seed if they get, let's say, a 7. So I like Marquette to make the Sweet 16. I don't take it, though, if it's probably below like 750 because the value there is just going to be ruined.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. When you're listening to this on Friday, you already know the result of it. But they got a big game against a hot Xavier team on Thursday, so that'll really play a lot into their seeding as well.
Yeah, if you actually look at the KenPom metrics and the historics of since 2000, so now we're going on like year 25, they meet what they need from a defense and offensive perspective. Their biggest issue really is how they play at home and on the road. I know they're going to be on the road essentially for the tournament, but like to me, if they're that efficient on offense and defense, like it just comes down to like showing up to the game. And I can't say realistically, like just one game, the difference between a 2 seed and a 9 seed is that far off this year. Like we're talking about a couple games here and there, a couple layups, free throws, etc.
If Marquette can get in the Midwest region, they'll play in Milwaukee, which is their hometown, and then they'll play in Indy, which they can definitely travel to. So they can definitely
ridiculous.
get that. So, all right, my first one. It's kind of a fun bet here. It's currently on BetMGM. It's Houston to be a 1 seed at plus 100, and I've been saying it for a while. I just don't think the committee's going to give 3 1 seeds to the SEC. Houston has 3 more quad 1 wins than Florida as of Thursday. They're obviously going to add to that if they do well in the Big 12 tournament. I'll say more on Houston later on because I have another bet I want to talk about with Houston. But the first one I want to put out there is Houston to be a 1 seed at plus 100 on BetMGM.
That's easy money. Just give it to me now.
I think possibly the only way you could see that come down is if like Colorado pulls a big upset against them. My next future was actually Texas Tech to win the Big 12 tournament, just because with that Cooper Flag injury, if Houston at least gets to the title game or the semifinals, I think you can lock them in for that 1 seed. I don't think they're going to have be as anxious to win that game, especially seeing the injury to Cooper Flag with Duke, who's already locked into a 1 seed. So they might not have the motivation to win the tournament if they're already locked into that 1 seed.
I don't hate your thought here. I'm a big guns up guy. If you've been listening to the pod for the last few years, and to your point, Texas Tech is fringing right now between a 2 and a 3 potentially. They can win the title in the Big 12 tournament. That might cement them as a 2 seed, and your chances of winning are a hell of a lot more at a 2 than it is a 3.
Yeah, and I like their chances today. I'm really low on that Baylor team. I don't trust that. I've never trusted Baylor. Every time we get to March, Baylor always folds.
No, I don't think they should even be in. Fun fact. No, don't even put them in the tournament. Baylor's
in the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, that too. I don't want to get in that tournament either. Like, all right, I guess it's me, or you got comments, Kyle?
No, I
We're
like
off the rails here, man.
No, I know. This is I like it. This is fun.
All right. I'm going to do another one that everyone should be tracking to already that I've put out on the podcast, but then I'll do an additional on top of. I do have St. John's to make the Final Four, plus 550. You can get it plus 400 right now, so I've already got some value in my pick. But beyond that, I'm feeling a little froggy, okay? I'm just going to say it now. Feeling froggy. I don't want to bail on my boys yet. I kind of like Boise State to win the Mountain West.
Ooh.
Plus 475.
With a huge game today on Thursday against San Diego State. So.
Yeah, so this might be
Is that essentially a play-in game? Is that basically a NCAA tournament play-in game?
It really is. It's like, and this might be a mute point by the time you guys have listened to this, but I was on Boise State to start the year. I feel like I'm honestly just doubling down at this point because I'm at 475 to win the Mountain West in the regular season. Did not happen. So I'm just like, you know what? Give me my money back.
Yeah, I like it. Boise State, very good offensive team this year. Like it's contrasting styles when they play San Diego State. So
yeah,
San Diego State swept them this year, right?
we don't. Well, you know who also got swept and then won the tournament? Gonzaga, swept by St. Mary's. Come back. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. Hard to beat
Unless you're just way
times.
better than them. Then
That's true. That's true too.
let's just take that as a transition into my next one because this one is tough to stomach after what we saw on Tuesday. But I got St. Mary's at plus 285 to make the Sweet 16. Not Final Four, Sweet 16, but they were terrible on Tuesday, no doubt. Absolutely one of the worst games I've ever seen played by both teams, honestly. 1 of 30 from 3 or whatever, 1 of 31. They didn't hit a single 3. They had 18 turnovers. Awful. But they have 10 quad 1 and 2 wins. They beat Gonzaga twice. They're not a bad team. They just played really bad in one game. They have 2 losses since Christmas. They're a top 25 team in KenPom, 10th best defense in all the nation. Try to forget what you saw on Tuesday. It might be the first game of St. Mary's you watched all year because they usually play at like midnight. They're not that bad of a team. They're actually a pretty good team. They played one of the slowest tempos, so you're going to probably be in a lot of close games come March, but they are a great defensive team, well coached, very veteran and tall team. We've talked about them a ton of times on this podcast. I'm taking St. Mary's to make the Sweet 16.
I don't know. Skeptical. I was really hurt by their 0 for 16 from 3. That's
it's hard to miss more threes or to miss less threes than you have turnovers when you go 0 for 16. Like they had 18 turnovers. It's pretty hard to do. So
I guess silver lining, we talked about this offline. They had 18 turnovers, 0 for 16 from 3, and still only lost that game by 7 points.
Against a top 10 KenPom team, even though I don't think Gonzaga's a top 10 team in any metric.
I have no clue how that still happens. And yeah. I'm starting to question what KenPom does with his math.
So this is how much of a casual basketball fan I am. I can't even name the conference. I know they're in the same conference as Gonzaga, but it seems like teams from that conference not named Gonzaga that don't have a long history of NCAA tournament success.
Do you want to play a game and see if you can figure it out?
The name of the conference?
Yeah. Just throw out a name. Let's see what we got. Yeah. This is J Hooks. What is the conference?
It's not the Mountain West. It's got West in it. It's not the Big West.
You're getting really close with this West. Yeah. Keep going.
This is just the West Coast Conference?
It is.
Okay. It is. Look at that. See, I know we figured it out.
So I've my next one is a conference tournament champion. You're laying a little bit of juice here. I have Liberty at minus 130 to win the Conference USA championship. They get the double bye. They have 6 guys averaging 9 points per game, so they got some depth. They also have 6 guys shooting 36% plus from 3. They have senior leadership with Peter and Metheny, which you know I'm a sucker for, what I talked about with Auburn. Their main competition is Jacksonville State. They don't shoot threes well outside of their main guy, Pierre. They're pretty reliant on him, and I just don't think a team that's so heavily reliant on one player, their second best player right now is out injured. So I just don't think a team that's that heavily reliant on one player can compete with the depth that Liberty has. So even though you're laying the juice here at minus 130, I like Liberty to win the Conference USA championship.
I love that. They're a top 62 team in KenPom. Nobody else in Conference USA is even in the top 100. So I absolutely love that.
All right. My turn. I'm going off the rails here. Again, one only that you know about, Kyle. Many moon ago, our listeners heard me say, if Michigan State could find a way to go 5-1 in their last 6 games, I would put my hard-earned cash on them to win the national title. Well, by God, they did it. They went 6-0. They swept the board. So I've put my hard-earned cash on Michigan State to win the title. I actually did it last week at plus 2,800. They're all the way down to plus 2,000. So I'm already ahead. It's gross. It makes you want to throw up. There's no way Izzo can pull it off. But as we know, the months of the year, we all learn them in school. It goes January, February, Izzo, April. Very possible that they find themselves in a position for me to at least cash out.
Is that one even? Are you going to root for that one, or is that going to be like I'm not going to pay attention to it? Just
Kyle, I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? That bet alone will pay for our entire trip to Louisville.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I like it.
let's go all out for the Final Four and then hope to God that they're there and that they win the title at that point.
Never cash out. Always hedge. Never cash out.
Never cash out, he says. Never cash out.
No, I like it. 21-3 since November 26th. So they've been hot.
It's insane.
All right, I'll stick with the theme of winning, of winning championships here. Houston, plus 700. If you guys go all the way back to the very first podcast, Jordan and I both picked Houston to win the national title at plus 1,500. I mean, at this plus 700 probably isn't the same as it was like 2 hours ago before Cooper Flag got hurt.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a great value. Like they're like the third or fourth team on the board. They're top 10 in both offense and defense. They've only lost one game since the calendar changed to December, and that was a 1-point loss in overtime to Texas Tech. They don't have the star, so no one's talking about them. They don't get the coverage like the SEC or the ACC does on ESPN all the time. Houston plus 700 still feels like a ton of value there, seeing I think they're the most balanced team minus Cooper Flag if Duke doesn't have them. So
I don't hate it. It'll make us really smart. I will say, I told Kyle this. I went back through the old blogosphere. I think it was 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember now. I did a blog on historical trends of who would win the national title just strictly off of that. And that year it was Kansas. Kansas actually did end up winning the title. I did the exact same historical trends analysis. There's only one team in the country that can win the national title based on that. And the name is Houston.
okay, I like it.
So now, needless to say, there's some additional analysis that will be done after the weekend. So stay informed. I will tweet out what the metrics say, special for anyone that listens to this episode.
All right, so I got two left. They both fly in the face of bets that Jordan's given out, so I'm not sure which one I want to lead with here.
Just fly, dude. Just fly.
Kick them off the podcast. Kick them off.
I have San Diego State, yes, to make the NCAA tournament at minus 140. They have 2 wins over Boise State already. They'd likely have to beat them again today to lock this in. They have wins over New Mexico, a win over Houston, which is going to weigh heavily in their chances to make it. And I think they have a chance to win the Mountain West tournament as well, which would completely just take this out of the committee's hands. So I think just getting a win today will be enough. So I really like that at minus 150.
Okay. I don't hate San Diego State, for clarity. If you actually listen to old podcasts of this season, I thought they were like a top 5 team at one point. They've just been underwhelming, I feel like, down the stretch. They don't perform super well, I feel like, under pressure like old San Diego State teams are. But I will support your pick if they happen to win, which they may have already done. This is Friday.
I absolutely love it. I picked San Diego State to win today, so I'm all aboard. So
you guys are such bandwagon geeks, dude.
All right, what do you got next, Jordan?
I have one more pick, and then I've wrapped up my futures. This is a team that we have been talking a little bit more about. They're a team that has a ton of potential, but their biggest issue is staying healthy. They are a different team when they are healthy. They are a definite championship contender when they're healthy. It's just they never are healthy. I'm looking at you, Big Blue Nation. Kentucky Wildcats plus 2,000 to win the SEC tournament and secure themselves a 2 seed.
I like it. That's good. It's a complete toss-up in that SEC tournament with the draw. So
I also, by the way, do like Missouri. They are just a weird, wonky team. They feel like a weird team that would win the SEC tournament and just put everything into shambles, but I like Kentucky more.
Yeah, the SEC and Big Ten both. I mean, you could see the 5 seed and the 8 seed playing in the championship games, and you wouldn't be shocked at all. There's so much depth in both of those conferences.
100%.
Kyle, you should just nut up and just take Oklahoma plus 25,000. There we go.
Not doing that.
You don't want Porter Moser? You're not on that bandwagon?
No, he has completely fallen apart since February.
My God, I've never seen a team fall apart faster.
Yeah.
Just the literal wheels came off.
Yeah. All right, this one is purely a value pick. It's because on other betting platforms, it's plus 6,600, plus 6,500 on FanDuel and ESPN Bet. But on DraftKings right now, you can get this at plus 9,000. Drake to make the Final Four.
What?
So, yes. So it's completely just a value play here because you get crazy odds compared to FanDuel and ESPN. But let me give you a little bit of facts on Drake just because I actually do think there's at least a path. They have a team that was with a new coach, and half their players are from his old team. It's a Division II coach, won the national title for the Division II team last year. He brought half of his players with him. They have only lost one game in their last 19. They're very slow, methodical. It's a lot like St. Mary's. So if you buy the style of St. Mary's, then you buy the style of Drake. Very veteran team. This will be a completely new team next year because all these guys will be graduating. But I think Drake, I'm going to pick them probably easily to the Sweet 16. But if they get a good draw, I think you get a ton of value here at plus 9,000.
Who do they need to play in the first 2 rounds for you to feel really confident about that? Because right now they're going to get a really shitty seed that they don't deserve. They should be. They're gonna. I feel like they're going to end up with like an 11.
As I say, I was going to guess to 10, so we're on the same page. So if they give us like I don't know, like Clemson maybe in the first round, I'd pick them over Clemson. And then, so what 2 seed do you think that they would have to go against? Maybe like at Wisconsin. I could see them like taking down a Wisconsin, slow down the game.
Okay.
You know, like if Wisconsin wins the Big Ten,
Fair.
gets a 2 seed.
Who do they need to avoid in the first round? Because I have thoughts.
I would say like a Missouri, somebody that can really pick up the pace, score the ball real quick. Team that's played against a lot of good teams.
How do you feel about their changes against Louisville?
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. ACC, they haven't played anybody good in 2 months, 3 months. So.
Louisville's such a sneaky team to me. They're just like Marquette. Their efficiency numbers are through the roof. New coach, they've played in big games, minus not having to play Duke.
Yeah.
They're going to be an interesting team. But okay, Drake, yikes, man. That's what are you doing? Like betting $1? Is that your value play?
I had a $5 free bet, so I put it on it.
There you go.
Okay. But so you're trying to pull the J-Hook special where he goes for like the first TD special he does in the NFL and his $5 free bet hits it 90% of the time.
Well, it was $5 to win 450, so you're going to spend more than that on a cheeseburger at McDonald's. So.
Fair.
Speaking of Louisville, though, do you think there's value on Louisville or Clemson to win the ACC now that Cooper Flag's likely not going to be back for the tournament?
Jeez, that's a really good question. That's a good question.
Which team do you trust more, Clemson or Louisville? That's also the question.
Well, I don't think Clemson's a real basketball school, so
I trusted Clemson more just because we've seen them beat Duke. Yeah. But now that Duke is not really 100%, I don't know if that matters anymore. Now the draw might matter more.
Yeah. I mean, they'll have to go up against each other in the semifinal before they even get to play Duke if Duke makes it that far.
Right.
So it'll be the 2 versus 3. I have more faith in Louisville. I think they're a better team than Clemson. I have no faith in Clemson, so I would go with Louisville. I don't know what the odds are to win the ACC.
Yeah,
but they legitimately beat Duke. It wasn't like Duke had a down game. Like they legitimately beat them. Duke shot well from 3, and Clemson still won that game.
Yeah. And in that game, they were without Malik Brown, and Cooper Flag was sick, so it's kind of like they already played this Duke team.
Gotcha. Okay,
that's fair. You know what's funny? You just said Clemson versus Drake, which would be a 7 seed, but they're ranked 10th in the country.
Yeah, but their strength of schedule is like. Let's pull up ESPN where they got.
No, I was saying that because I did see that where they had like Louisville as like a fringe 8-9. I'm like, they're ranked 13th in the country, and we're saying they're an 8 seed.
Their rankings are ridiculous.
Now, if they win the ACC tournament, I could see them getting like a 4.
That would be nice. It'd be a real shame if Louisville. You know what I don't want to see, and I know it's going to happen, Kyle, because the basketball gods want to rip my heart out. Maryland is going to get someone that I don't want them to play, like UC San Diego or Yale, where I'm like, well, there goes the season.
Yeah.
Crab 5 is over. I was confident they're a Sweet 16 team, and then they're going to play like the 2 teams I don't want them to play.
I just pulled up ESPN to see who their 7 seeds are, and one of them is Gonzaga. I mean, they already played St. Mary's 3 times this year. I mean, if you
that's ridiculous. Well, they probably have St. Mary's like a 9, don't they?
They do. Yep.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
But like, if Drake went against Gonzaga, I wouldn't be shocked if Drake won that game.
Yeah, I would say some languagey things, but this is a PG show.
All right, I don't have any other picks.
No picks.
I got one more, and
Let's hear it.
I'm glad you brought up Maryland. I got the Maryland sweater
I
on.
know.
It's a total homer pick. I'm taking Maryland to win the Big Ten tournament. I just like their draw better. They're on the easier side of the bracket than a Michigan State. Michigan State's got dodge a lot of landmines. I feel like Maryland's on the easier side of the bracket. I don't trust Michigan. So if it gets down to that 2-3 matchup with Michigan and Maryland, I know Michigan beat Maryland at the buzzer, but that was just a weird game. I don't trust Michigan. I think Maryland is the second best team in that conference behind Michigan State. And if Michigan State gets tripped up before the championship game, I really like Maryland's chances.
I love that pick. I'm a big Crab 5 guy. Big Crab 5 guy. Honestly, Kyle, shirt idea. Crystal, don't make this shirt though. Is you get the crab, like a little like crab, and then just have like Crab 5 on a red Maryland shirt.
And then they lose in the first round. And
Yeah, it'd be
no
cool
reason to
too
wear
if
that
like somehow
shirt.
like you made the Pensers like all the players of the Crab 5, and then then like they lose in the first round and it's a worthless shirt.
Then we can wear that with our Fat Ronnie shirt.
Dude, Fat Ronnie will never go out of style. Never. Ever, ever, ever.
Have you guys ever had crabs in Maryland?
No.
No.
Oh my God. If you ever make the trip, like there's a reason they're famous. They are so good. I got a crab cake outside of Maryland when on vacation. I grew up in Maryland my entire life. The crab cakes have always just been awesome. I was on vacation somewhere in Florida and I asked them how their crab cake was. And they said, oh no, it's really good. It was terrible. So a crab cake, if you've had it anywhere else, it does not match Maryland. Maryland crab cakes are incredible. Put it on your bucket list.
We got to travel to Maryland, hang out with J Hooks, and eat crab cakes.
Yeah, I'm down because I like crab cakes here in Indy, and they must suck. So,
cool. Let's look ahead. What's NFL season look like? It'd be a real shame if like the Ravens played the Cowboys or something and had to beat the Cowboys up. I'm really looking at the NFL.
Yeah.
We're going everywhere now. Our NFL.
This is kind of what happens when you don't have an outline for the pod. We just go down rabbit holes.
Fun fact, you told me a couple weeks ago this is your favorite part, is whenever I go on tangents. And guess what? You got 2:30 in the afternoon, Jordan, not 10:30 at night, Jordan. So congratulations. And I haven't had to work that hard today.
I haven't had to work hard.
I'm looking it up though. Let's see. Who do they have to play? It won't give us the weeks, but let me see what teams they play.
Oh.
We can go off script if you want, J Hook, since we did on yours. Do we want to talk NFL football free agency real quick at the end here?
Real quick, I feel like I should address that I am at a conference tournament right now. I am at the Atlantic 10 Conference Championship right now. VCU, an overwhelming favorite to this one. Do you guys think anybody can pull off an upset here? We saw Richmond when this tournament was here a couple of years ago. Richmond took it, and they were like a plus 10,000 underdog to start the tournament.
I want VCU to win because I want them definitely in the tournament right now. Like even with them supposed to win the tournament, they're only 11 seed. So I'm worried if they don't win that the committee will do something stupid and leave them out. So
put them in the play-in game or something.
Yeah.
I like VCU and I do like Dayton. I want them both in the tournament. Like I don't want Baylor. Screw Baylor. I'd rather see Dayton. Just like I don't want to see like the 12th best team in the Big Ten make it in. I'd rather see UC Irvine or UC San Diego, whoever doesn't win that conference tournament. But VCU is just like so much better than everyone else, I feel like, in that tournament or in that conference.
So speaking of the 12th team in the Big, does that mean you don't want to see Ohio State get in?
No, I don't.
No, keep them out.
Please don't put them in. Like,
18-16 Ohio State shouldn't be in the tournament. Bit of a hot take.
Keep IU out. I don't care that they got high.
See, again,
they were
like my
awful.
wife's a big Indiana fan, and I'm like, I don't really want to see them. They stink.
Did they lose today?
Yeah, they got beat by Oregon by like 12 or something like that.
Oregon's a sneaky team. They could win the Big Ten.
They are a sneaky team. Dude. Fun fact, did look up the Ravens schedule. They do not play the Cowboys.
Well, the Commanders always play. The Commander Stadium is in Maryland. They always play the Cowboys.
Oh, now we're talking. Okay. Which one are you closer to, I guess? I just assumed Baltimore.
Yeah, so they're equidistant. Northwest Field, I'm so used to being called FedEx, is easier to get to just because it's a straight shot down 50. I'm on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, so
got it. I was just really wanting to get those purple camo pants.
Yeah, the highway to, ironically, everyone in my area is Ravens fans, but the highway to get to FedEx or Northwest, whatever it is now, is substantially easier to navigate than going up 97 or 295 and trying to get into Baltimore, especially since the bridge collapsed. It's just traffic's a mess up there.
It's fair. Okay. I am mentally making a note that we need to make this trip, Kyle. It's a must make at some point. You can't know a guy for 5 years and never get crab cakes with him.
You know, one thing we have not promoted on this podcast, which is my fault, is is our bracket challenge. We really need to push it this weekend because we have not talked about it at all. So again, guys, we have a free contest. It's on ESPN. The group is Sittin Courtside. We'll be posting it on all of our Twitter, even the Sittin Courtside Twitter as well. It's free, but the winner gets a prize pack. You'll get some gear from us, like every single other year that we've done this. So go ahead and join us on ESPN. We'll be tweeting all of our picks this weekend. Do you want to plug any of your stuff, Jay Hooks?
So it's the Let It Ride podcast. You can find me at the Let It Ride pod on Twitter. Mainly do NFL stuff. So during the NFL season, I'm posting an episode every week, giving out my best bets in the NFL. Usually do 5 games. Do a lot of futures as we lead up to the season. So starting around late July, early August, I'll start doing episodes, dropping those. Got a mock draft episode that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. But we're pretty slow during the NFL offseason.
He's also the best gambler right now, so don't let him be modest.
You must not know a lot of gamblers.
It used to be Kyle, and now it's Joe.
That's completely reasonable.
While we have like 3 minutes, really quickly, we do need to figure out this too for everyone, that because it motivates people to sign up for the bracket. We don't have what's our punishment if we can get like 100 people? I thought did we vaguely talk about this like a month ago?
I think so. I think we did, but we never came up with one.
I already forgot it. Okay.
Yeah.
Next episode, we will give you guys what happens if you can sign up. We need 100 people though.
Yeah.
Last year was a lackluster year. I was disappointed in everyone.
And of course, next week will be our biggest podcast because it's still when we fill out the bracket. So after Selection Sunday, I'm not sure if we're recording Monday or Tuesday. We'll figure that out also, but we'll have it out before the start of the games on Thursday. It'll be the brackets that are in our challenge, so you'll actually be able to hear the bracket and know what you need to pick against to beat us. But yeah, again, ESPN Sit Courtside Bracket Challenge. If we get over 100 people in it, we will of course do a punishment. This time, Jordan hopefully actually complete his punishment, unlike last year.
Wait, hold on. He's lost the punishment on my podcast twice. Is there another punishment that he's lost?
So,
yeah.
So the actual punishment was 2 years ago. Kyle had Kansas, I had Kansas State, and we said whoever made it the farthest in the tournament lost. And I'm just a habitual loser, okay? Like. I'm
surprised you haven't just
now.
Retired from punishment bets. Like you're terrible at that.
He's the one that comes up with half of them.
I do. No, I come up with every punishment. Yeah. I'm like, this will be funny, and then like it's me that's the one getting laughed at every time. I'm just gluttonous for punishment. Just give it to me.
And this last one was some ridiculous, like eat 50 wings in an hour, or eat like the spiciest chip or whatever.
It was eat 100 wings, but you could substitute 5 wings for every beer you drink. And if you didn't finish the challenge, you had to eat the world's hottest chip. I, being the dum-dum that I am, decided to get like wings like I'd never gotten them before. I got them extra crispy. Never had done that in my life. And it was so dry. Just getting through them was like, it was painful.
And
I did drink like 8 beers though. Yeah.
So it's 100 wings. Every beer is -5.
Correct.
Okay.
That was what we did before. I tried to make it where Kyle wouldn't come up for this because he's such a weenie. This again 2 years ago. It was if Kansas State made it farther, Kyle had to get a bird, but if Kansas made it farther, I had to get a cat.
Didn't want a damn birds.
I kind of feel like I could pull that off if I had it'd have to be an NFL Sunday though. Like if I could sit down for 6 hours. I can polish off 12 beers, 40 wings.
Yeah, I had to do this in an hour.
Yeah, you can't. That's absurd.
We were pushing limits. But okay, all right, shot. It went in. You guys will never know.
No chance, Owen.
It did not go in.
Well, we'll be posting all of our picks all weekend. I'm at Kyle Cliffy. Jordan's at Mingo Made One. Jeff is at the Let It Ride Pod on Twitter. We'll be posting all of our picks this weekend. Have a great conference tournament championship. I cannot wait to do the bracket challenge. And thanks again, Jeff, for joining us for the first time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Love you guys.